Hello, everyone, and welcome to the What You Got podcast, where we talk topics A to Z and everything in between. I am Jordan Palmer, joined as always by Charlie Budd, and today we got the trolley problem on tap for you all. And this is an interesting philosophical conundrum, also a nice little tongue twister there, that essentially, for those of you who don't know, goes like this. You're walking along a trolley track, and you look up, and there are 5 people tied to one track and 1 person tied to another. All is well until suddenly you hear a chugga chugga chugga, chugga chugga chugga. You slowly turn back and you see a train. And as it stands, the trolley is going to run over the 5 people tied down. You scurry around looking for something that you can use, and all of a sudden you see the lever that will switch the track from killing the 5 to killing the 1. What do you do? And so, I'm going to pass it off to you, Bud, to kick us off. What you got?
Palmer, this is a very, very fundamental, philosophical question on morality. It's a really interesting one. I think a lot of people, and probably yourself, would say you would probably just pick the lesser evil here and have to switch that, that track over to the 1 because, 1 is less than 5. If you had to choose out of the 2, then it's clear that you're going to just pick the 1 with the least amount of casualties. The cold calculus of war, as they say. But, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. You kind of questioned me there. Would you let 5 people run over? And, I do have a follow-up after that, but...
Okay, well, before I answer, so you would pull it and kill the 1?
I think most people would. I don't think I'm alone in that sense. I think there are a decent amount of people who would. It just logically makes sense. If you're confined into this situation where you have 5 people on the track and the train is going right towards it, and then you got 1 person on the track, and you have the option to switch it to go to that 1 person, why wouldn't you choose that, But there's also the case that, I can go into a gray area that you don't know what the lever does.
Okay. What if it has a sign that says this switches the track A, but B, you're also allowed to walk away. You don't have to pull it if you don't want to.
That is also true, but that kills 5 people, though.
So you're still pulling it if you see the sign that says this will switch the track, and you have the option to walk away. Is that what I'm understanding?
You know the outcomes at that point, right? Because you can see that the trolley is going to hit 5 people, and your inaction is still a consequence. Inaction never means that it's an action without consequence. Inaction just means that you chose not to do something, and that still has an effect.
Okay, so Bud's pulling the lever. Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, okay. What would you do? What would you do?
I am proud to say I would look at the lever, look at the tracks, look back at the lever. Have that pause, that big pause of this is my moment. And then I think I'd walk away. Truthfully.
So why is that? Why would you walk away? Why would you condemn the 5 to death and not save the 5 at the cost of another's life?
And see, that's the conundrum. For me, I like to go to bed at night and sleep well. And in my head, as things would have stood had I not been there, the 5 people would have died, the 1 person wouldn't have died, and things would have kept going. Just because I'm there doesn't mean I'm not involved. So in essence, I might be letting those people die, but I'm not killing them. In my head, as I see the scenario. If I actively pull the lever, then I'm involving myself, and at that point, I am deciding to kill someone. That makes sense.
Interesting. But do you not think that, seeing the lever, knowing your options in that moment, and then choosing to walk away, isn't being involved? You're involved because you're there, whether you want to be or not.
I know. See, it's a weird, cognitive dissonance in that I recognize I'm there, But technically, I didn't tie anybody down any tracks.
Yeah.
And I'm just, and as they said, and she's the man, completely unrelated outside, like, third party with no tie-in and no consequences to this situation. So I don't know, man. I couldn't do it because I'd be killing. And also, I mean, I don't have context for, I imagine, at least in the first scenario, I don't have context for any of these people. So that could be 5 prisoners tied down on one side and, like, say, a doctor on that side. So I don't know. And so I might be just killing the doctor.
Well, that raises another whole question.
I know. It was like, not to
problem.
say that prisoners deserve to die or anything, but just, let's say 5 murderers that we know of. So,
well, I mean, let's say that, like, you like, but the thing is, there's never a way to know until after it's already happened, right? Like,
until the news stories start breaking. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the news stories start breaking, and, like, it's also just impossible for you to know, like, what the history's like. What if the one person on the track is the serial killer and the 5 people are the doctors?
See, you raise a good question.
But you don't know this. It's just like, and that's the point, right? You're not really supposed to know everybody's individual situations here. The point of the trolley equation, or at least or the trolley problem, at least how I perceive it, is that it's like a question of, like, morality, right? Like, in the sense of, like, what sacrifices are you willing to make to save the greater good, or, like, that's how I view it, is that, because I don't know everybody's personal situation down there, so who am I to, like, say, like, who gets to I mean, I don't know. In this situation, I'm quite literally getting to say who gets to live or die. But, I mean, it's, I disagree with the fact that my inaction would make me, like, sleep better at night. I think I would be more haunted with the fact that I could have done something, and not doing something made it, like, worse. Like, 5 people died. So that's how I view it. But I do want to bring up, though, is that so in a study, like, I was reading about the trolley problem and how it was used in, like, certain studies. A survey found that 90% of the people chose to kill the one person versus the 5. However, in a 2017 study, they made it a little bit more real. So what they did was they took strangers and they brought them into, like, a room with the switch, and they showed footage pre-recorded of a trolley about to collide with 5 people, real people, versus colliding with one, and they said this switch changes the tracks over, and it's to the person on the lone track. Now, what do you think the people in that study did, knowing that there was an actual, like, in their head, a real live situation happening?
Did they end up pulling it and
No, they overwhelmingly didn't do anything. Mm-hmm.
Yes, people. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
Which I thought was really interesting, that when presented with the actual real world, like an actual scenario where that happened, people chose not to do anything. Whereas on paper, the overwhelming majority of people chose to sacrifice the one to save the many.
I just realized I was cheering about 5 people dying like 2 seconds ago, so I apologize for that. But see, that's my point. It's interesting because, like I said before, it's kind of like, are we equating letting someone die to killing them? Now, if that's equal to you, then it makes sense to pull the lever because 1 is less than 5. But if they aren't equal to you, then that's where the gray area kind of comes in, and it could make sense to not do anything. That's fascinating. Do you know where that was done?
I can look it up, but I was reading about it the other day.
Everybody wants to be all big and bad until you see 5 people tied down to a track.
Where was this done?
I'm just curious if it was in the U.S. of A. or if it was somewhere else.
I don't know if it says, like, where it was done. Okay. But I was trying to see where it was like published, or where the study was, like, conducted. I mean, I don't know. It's hard. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it.
Did reading that change your opinion on what you would do?
I was like, I guess it was more like, all right, how does that change something? Like, like, I don't know. I was trying to figure out like why that would change the situation, but I guess in like kind of going to what you were saying is that it changes like, oh, I don't want to get involved in this. I'll feel better about myself if I like basically just absolve myself from having to choose, but your choice is that you didn't choose, in my opinion. So like I don't believe in the fact that like inaction is like, oh, I don't think you could ever be neutral is my point. I don't think it's I think it's impossible to be neutral on things. You can try to be, but like I don't think it works for most scenarios. I think yes, there's probably nuanced things you can point to where you can be neutral, you can choose like, but like inaction always has consequences, in my opinion. And I just found it interesting that a majority of people chose to basically do nothing and then kind of let a disaster happen. But that's me, and I don't know what I would do in that exact situation. Like, to be honest, if that was like real, like, or at least created to feel real, it's hard to say.
I think I'd do a quick pivot, just make sure I didn't see what happened. But
Yeah.
I'm going strong. I wouldn't be able to do anything, I don't think. Goodness. Now, there's a variation to this scenario, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, in terms of thinking about, let's say that there's a doctor on the one track who's gonna find, say, the cure to some crazy disease, but only they know it, and they need to survive this in order to save lives. And let's say that others are five randos, everyday people who aren't gonna do that. Do you feel more comfortable not pulling at that point in time?
Not pulling would save the doctor.
Yeah, it would save the doctor, who would ultimately save millions of people.
Well, that's still the same issue, right? But like,
Is it?
I mean, if you can guarantee that the doctor, I mean, it is in the same in the sense that you're still picking a less, like a smaller or greater number, and he lives regardless of if you choose to not do anything, then like he lives, but like so most people in this, like if we're gonna go back, but I'll limit the scope here. And my choice, yes, the doctor would die if I chose to, what I had said previously. Not saying that this right now, but if we can 100% guarantee that the doctor lives, then yeah, I would probably save the doctor because he has more, I guess, value and to helping humanity and saving way more many lives.
Interesting. Now, same scenario, more or less. Doctor, but he's on the verge of finding something. So he's not quite there yet. There's a chance he could find this cure, could not.
Yeah.
But he's the closest that anybody's come to doing it. Do you let him live, or do you... And that was... Sorry, for those who can't see, that was the sound of me switching the track, not him dying, but that, I guess, would come shortly after.
On the verge, I don't know. It's tough. Like, this reminds me a lot of kind of what happens in The Last of Us. Funny enough. I would love to talk about it because it's actually really pertinent to the situation, but I also don't want to spoil the ending for people if they're super interested in it, but I don't know. Like, it's tough to say because I know it's also coming out as an HBO show. And,
word.
So I don't know. As much as I think it's extremely relevant to this situation, I guess I'll have to refrain from, because that entire ending is this literal question. So be interesting. But on the verge, God, how do I answer this without now bringing up The Last of Us? Because I had a great answer.
Oh man, maybe you could craft your own analogy that maybe parallels The Last of Us, but doesn't exactly get the same details.
I'll try my best here. So, I guess if you're on the verge, like, at the end of the day, like, you're. It's like, why do you have all this knowledge to begin with, you know? But like, I guess still on the verge, I would probably still, I would save him.
Okay. There's a chance that he could save no one.
Yeah, there's a chance. And but there's also a chance he could save a lot of other people. What would you do, Palmer?
I think at the end of the day, I'm still throwing my hands in the air and walking away.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Because that's hard. See, when it comes to, for example, someone who's going to save a lot of people or someone you apply this value that put those blinders on you no matter what. Like, so say somebody that you care about who isn't going to save a lot of people. And they're the one person versus the 5. You're still going to probably be inclined, as much as we like to say we have the strength to let them, or to pull it and let them die and then allow 5 people to survive. You're probably going to give them more value. So it's weird. Mm-hmm. In the event that it's a doctor on the verge or has a cure, I'm still probably not letting that person live and letting the 5 die. Although, flip it. Okay, so now the person's on the other tracks with the 5, and there's some rando on the 1. How do you feel?
I mean, still a numbers game. I mean, it's a 0.
You play the numbers, man. You play the numbers. You just play some lottery. Lottery action.
So you're saying you would let him die in this situation?
That's the one time I'm really thinking maybe I do pull and kill the 1. But I gotta know. If we're on the verge, I don't think I could do it. But if we know this guy's got the cure, I might be like, hit the lever. Oh no. Oh man. So that might be how that goes. How about you there, bud?
I think I'm just like somebody who's been consistent with like numbers here. So I guess I'd have to save the 5. In order to maybe even remotely get because still at the end of the day, I'm saving 5 people versus 1, and with the potential, even if it is just on the verge and not guaranteed, with the potential to save even more people that way. So in a way, the choice is almost easier in a kind of awful way to say, but it is an almost easier choice to make than the previous scenario.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I actually was just thinking about a variation on all of this. So you still have the 1, you still have 5. Say you could save everybody somehow by cutting 5 years on your own life. Would you do it?
5 years total on my own life?
Yep. So you say you were going to live to 100. You're living to 95 now.
Save everybody, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 years
really?
For 6 lives. 1 year, not even a life. So, what's the difference between 95 and 100, really? Both just
suck. You don't want to be like geriatric, like nope. In your little machine that goes up the stairs.
No, unless they invented the cure to being old by that age. I don't want to be 95 or during those years to 100. It just sounds like miserable. I don't know what I would do.
What if you're one of those like spry 100-year-old people?
Yeah.
Like I can hit the gym. Like I'm not obviously throwing up heavy weight, but I can still hit like a 5.
Being old sounds dumbbell. Miserable. Why would I ever want to be old?
Hey, maybe we should talk about that with the. I know you're a big CRISPR guy, so maybe we could discuss that on another day and the cure to aging there. But no, okay. So
bring it to
me. Say it's 10 years that get cut off. So you make it to 90. And this is assuming you're living to be 100. You don't know what you're going to, tap out at.
That's true. I don't know when, but I am, I guess, a selfless person, Palmer. I'm going to say
was that a humble brag?
Humble brag. I guess I'll save people, But you're right. No, you're right. Like, I could, knocking 5 years could end me tomorrow. You never know with like what the future technically holds. But you told me that I was going to live till 100 and I'd be only 95, so that was the scenario in my head.
Okay.
So if it was any age, then yeah, I'd probably be scared shitless that I'd die tomorrow because I don't know what my future holds. And I'd probably be selfish in that situation and not do that because, hey, better me than him, eh? Or better you than me. That's what I meant to say.
Oh my gosh. That's when Charlie puts his hands in his pockets, turns away, and just starts walking. Oh, man.
What would you do,
wow.
Palmer? What would you do?
Bro, I'm not going to lie. I'd like to say I'm a selfless person who could save a lot of people.
Oh, come on. When you're pressed to it, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Nobody would.
Dude, no. They said 5? 5? This is me talking, I guess, though. Whatever's telling me. No, I'm okay. Thank you, though. Goodness. 5 years? Like, I gotta know for sure that aging technology is, revolutionized, and I'm making it to like 180, and then I can
live it forever, baby. 5. Never going away.
Never gonna die. Oh man, yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, we like to think as selfless as we are, but when you have the onus thrown back on you in this scenario, it changes things. You don't really want to have to be associated with the outcomes there.
No.
Oh man, yeah, no, that was a week. Cause I was just like, man, 10. What would you like? What's the max number of years of your life you'd give up to save everybody?
Is it bad to say I wouldn't give up anything?
Okay, hey.
I mean,
no, that's an option. Zero is an option.
And it's an incredibly American attitude right there. But I don't know because, I mean, now I'm getting into why should I involve myself like this?
Okay.
Like, why would I?
My
so
problem.
in this situation, though, it's like I'm putting a personal stake on the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before, I'm simply just making a choice to take action or to take no action. And, the outcome is the outcome. But if I have to give up I have to, pay with my life in years, essentially, then, that's a personal stake, that adds weight to a decision. And I don't think I would want that. I would rather be more inactive in this situation than have to take a personal stake in it.
Yup.
What about you? Would you do the same or do something different?
See, I want to live to be 105. That's my goal. So I can live in 3 centuries, man.
Oh, that is
go
a
to the
good
1900s,
goal. That is a good
2000s, and 2100s. But I want to be like the city of Detroit, live to 105 and die.
I gotta make it to 106.
Oh yeah, you could do it. I think they say that 50% of the children born today will live to be 100 or older.
Really?
I know we weren't born today,
reading,
so obviously it doesn't help
in
us.
high school, some famous biochemist was saying that the person who's going to live to 1,000's already been born.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I would know. I don't know if I'd want to live to 1,000.
Yeah, that's another question we could always have for another topic. If you had the choice, would you live forever? Yes or no? And why?
Okay. In the lead up to that, if you're listening to this and you have a response for that, please, tweet it at us or tag us in terms of Instagram. You can do that on IG at Whatcha Got Podcast, Whatcha spelled WHATCHA, or on Twitter at Whatcha Got Cast, Whatcha spelled the same way. But no, very, very interesting conundrum there. Very interesting. And it's crazy to note that there's, what is it called? Like the bystander problem or something along those lines.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I'm not entirely sure what that is called.
Okay. It's when you're in a group, or maybe it's the bystander effect. You're in a group and you see something bad happening or this scenario and nobody does anything because they expect someone else to step up and do it. It's very interesting. So I'm curious. I wish
bystander
we could know.
It's called, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Haha. Thank you, college. But no, I'm curious to know. Obviously, we have no way of testing it. But if we were to be in a group of people and see this happening, would we or anybody in the group feel compelled to do something, or would we all be frozen expecting someone else to do it?
I always think people expect others to do it.
Fair.
feeling myself in like certain situations, like where I've kind of literally just been a bystander when something was like happening. I just kind of like watched to kind of see what would happen, because you involve yourself. That's like, again, personal stake in the entire whatever conflict that it is, and some people just don't want to get involved. But it is kind of very related to the trolley problem, because depending on what's happening, your inaction can lead to dire consequences. So.
Mm-hmm. I always think when I'm about to involve myself or I'm a bystander, like, there are two sides to this story. Maybe I don't know everything, so no need for me to get
it's
in
like
there.
That Family Guy joke where
I was going to say Horton.
Horton hears domestic violence and doesn't do anything about it. It's like, I'm sure there's two sides to this.
I was like, oh my gosh, but it's great. It's the bystander effect, dude. Like, nobody knows what to do because then they involve themselves. Yeah, no, interesting. In any scenarios in the trolley problem that you wanted to explore there, bud?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the trolley problem, though, is almost a little extreme in the sense that it's like one extreme versus another, and I don't know how well it applies to a lot of like real world scenarios. Like, I feel like very few times in the real world do you have choices where like you kill one person versus saving five, or killing five people to save one. It's I feel like that's such an extreme version, but as for like actual like issues, I don't know. I mean, there's always like that. Do you save one person or save humanity from a cure for a vaccine, for instance? So, like, take for example. Okay. You have your son, right? Okay. Your son.
My son.
Your biological son has the cure to an incredibly infectious disease that has a high mortality rate, and they say they can get a vaccine from him, but he will die in the process. What do you do?
I'm sorry, humanity, but that's my kid. That's not happening. See, it's like crazy how like easy that is. Like, I'm also like, if science, why is my kid like, you can't figure that out without them? Like, come on, it's so weird. Like, and everybody says they're a good person, but when you're put in the scenario, you actually get a chance to, not to say find out who you truly are, but find out who you are within the scope of the stakes. And I think that's okay. Same question to you, bud. What are you doing? You letting the kid kick the bucket, or are you saving humanity? Bless you.
It's really tough.
Don't make me feel bad. I was so quick with it. What's your answer?
I'd probably save my kid. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. See, the crazy thing is, when you're a parent, you are all your kid like that's nobody has their back. Yeah. Yup, absolutely.
Your world. But
okay, say it's your dog. I know people go real hard in the paint for their pet children.
Dogs.
Say you had a dog. I know you have had dogs. Say it's your dog that you've had since childhood. Somehow it's still alive, 27 years later, and still going strong. Like, it's got a full life ahead of it. Do you let Buffy? I don't know why Buffy was the name.
Buffy the Vampire
Buffy
Slayer?
go? Yeah, maybe. Do you let Buffy go, or is Buffy coming home and going on some more walks for the rest of her life?
Gonna have to let Buffy go.
Buffy gotta go to the big kennel in the sky. Okay, see?
All dogs go.
Wow. Yes, that's true. That is true. Wow. You were quick with that. Although I feel that. I think I would do the same. But it's
different. It's different.
That's the best way to be.
You have one with, one's a choice of, like, sentient intelligence versus, a dog. As much as I love dogs, it's a dog at the end of the day. Right?
Yes.
Like, if you had to choose between your house is on fire to save your dog or your kid, you're going to choose your kid 10 out of 10 times.
Let's talk about that for a second. If anybody's listening to this podcast right now and watches the show This Is Us, and you aren't caught up to, I guess it's season 4 or 5, just hop off for Just a good, 30 seconds. I'll wait. Okay, Charlie. So basically in the show, This Is Us, the dad, Jack, who is played by Milo Ventimiglia.
Yeah.
Beloved. Dude, so this guy goes in, there's a fire, he gets his family out. He goes back in for the dog and a photo album. Love the man to death. But I was like, dude, are you kidding me right now? But yeah, that was it. I didn't get really any spoilers, so that's good.
Did he save the dog?
The dog did survive. Yes, the dog did survive.
Oh, that's good. Mission accomplished.
Yes.
Well, in that situation, your only choice is, do I risk myself to save my dog?
But okay, sorry for those of you who just hop back on. This is, you probably knew it. You knew it from the trailers. The show's been out for a couple years. Hop off for another 30 seconds. I'll wait. Okay, dude. So basically, he survives, but then as a result of inhaling so much smoke, he has a Widowmaker heart attack and dies.
Dang.
And it's like, if you had just hopped out and kind of let the dog get it, you'd still... And the whole show was built around the lives of his family as they moved on kind of without him. And it's crazy to think, because the dog possibly and the photo album, all of their lives changed drastically, in forever for them. But because he went back for the dog and the photo album. Never forget.
Never forget. R.I.P. to my boy.
I know. Oh, man. If you guys were off, hop back.
Welcome back,
but
everybody.
Yes, welcome back. I know, we're getting into a little bit of This Is Us. No, dude, so it's just, it's a fascinating conundrum. And there are some variations on it. Maybe we'll explore some more another day. Mm-hmm. But I think that was just kind of the gist. I wanted to see what you were thinking in terms of, do you let the one die, or let the five die, or kill the one?
Yeah, no, I mean, the trolley problem is always a fun problem to kind of go through. It's, it definitely has real world applications in terms of a good question on morality. There's been studies on it. It applies even to the bystander effect. That that's, I think, more people in those situations show that more often than not you're going to be inactive in your decision making and just kind of let and do nothing. So I think people who are those who think of themselves, if you're in public and you see something going on and imagine people around you, you're probably not going to do anything in hopes that someone else will do something. I think that can apply to the trolley problem, where in reality I think you'll just let it run people over. The five people. Yep. And just, because you're like, well, if I pull the switch, I'm actively doing something and making that decision. But, even though I could argue that, you're also knowingly not doing something and causing a slide. It's like saying, you shoot a random bullet through a wall, and you don't know what's on the other side of that wall, but you can shoot a bullet through that wall, kill someone, but you could never know, and you can walk away never knowing that you did that. Or you could check behind the wall and see what your bullet hit.
Do you check, Charlie, or do you just walk away?
I don't know, Palmer. Sounds like you just walk away because you
whoa,
shots fired.
I am not firing any shots here. Oh my gosh, dude.
I think I'd have to check behind the wall. Make sure. I don't think I could live with myself knowing that, what I did could have a consequence. So. Or what I didn't do have a consequence. I mean, I guess in this situation, I actively fired a gun, so it's not a perfect comparison. But it's a same kind of logic, I guess.
Let's assume you had a good reason to do that. Honestly, I think in this scenario, I would check behind the wall too. Yeah. Just give it a peek. Mm-hmm. If I see someone run, but if not, we're good. Yeah. It wasn't me. Stop that man. Stop that man. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah, so that's a good little analogy there, bud.
Exactly.
Oh man, but no, perf. I have exhausted my ideas when it comes to the trolley problem for now.
I think I have too. I don't know what else to add to the trolley problem.
I know.
It's
that it's a thought-provoking one.
It is a thought-provoking one, and I'm curious what people think about the trolley problem. What would you do in these situations? So. Hit us up on the social medias. Let us know. But shorter podcast episode today. We've been covering a lot of movies, so that's definitely been the reason why they've been longer as of late. But these are like usually the normal length of our podcasts, I think, before we cover like movies that just come out. So with that being said, is there anything else you'd like to add to the trolley problem?
Just for my people out there, keep your eyes peeled. If you see a group of strangers tied down to a trolley track kind of system, just be discerning. Maybe you pull it, maybe you don't, but just decide and be at peace with it in your heart. Mm-hmm. That's what I would stress.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks so much for listening, everybody. This has been the What You Got podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Budd. Joined, as always, with me is the fantastic Jordan Palmer. Make sure you drop a follow to wherever you listen to our podcast. We're on YouTube now, so go subscribe to our YouTube channel. The episodes on the YouTube channel probably come out later dates. It takes a lot longer, folks, let me tell you, to get that up on YouTube. And be sure to follow us on social media. Palmer already dropped the social media links, but why don't you hit them with one more time. You can follow us on Instagram at Whatcha Got Podcast, Whatcha spelled WHATCHA, or on Twitter at Whatcha Got Cast, Whatcha spelled the same way. And you can always listen to our podcast every Monday evenings. We're sorry that we're late today, but it happens. Life happens, and Thanksgiving's coming up. Another holiday, another week will probably be delayed. So, just telling you the truth, people. Just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll see you next week.